It's Santi back with another video, and I wanted to talk about something. You know, I'm not a Christian, but I'm an individual who engages in scholarship. You feel me? And I'm not even a Christian, but what a lot of people who are Christians don't realize about themselves, there's a high level of unawareness and of themselves on a soul level. There's a scripture and it states that ye are gods and are children of the Most High. Now, there are many different types of God concepts, and for me, mine is merely nature and nature alone. But a lot of people's idea of God comes from their own imagination. But it's not something that they have created in their own imagination as much as it is something that has been implanted in their mind based off of the religions that they ascribe to. And none of these religious identifications are those that they have chosen on their own or anything that they can really consciously and intellectually discuss from within themselves. They reference the ideas and the conditioning of their family, their, society, the dogma of their religious congregation. Whether a pastor, bishop, minister, whomever has implanted in their heads and they have pretty much identified with that notion. It's become a part of their identity. Okay. And so for a lot of people with this concept of God as being an individual outside of themselves, whom created the heavens and the earth, it's not stemming from anything that's based in reality. Because none of these individuals can give you an image of God based on personal experience. It's a blurred image in their mind. It's a blurred image in their mind. So when they speak on God, on whom they perceive God to be, it's really just from a place inside of their being. It's not coming from their soul, but more so in the fragmented parts of themselves that their identity has been built around that comes from conditioning. So based on a person's religious beliefs, they cannot think outside of the framework of their religion. They can't even intellectualize concepts outside of that because their thinking is limited. So with their thinking being limited, they lack the ability to think beyond the reality in which they've been conditioned to see. So there's a veil. So my boy Jay the Chosen One, this video for you in the comments that people were making because you identified yourself as God, but that's the most divine and self-knowledge based understanding that anyone can ever have. Simply for the fact that no individual outside of you has told you that it is God, has given you a name and has come forth and said, I am God. Without a doubt. Because if that was being done, then there would be no more space for belief. You wouldn't have to believe because you would know. You wouldn't have to have belief because you would know truth. Okay? How are you to be, if God is your father, how are you to not be him? Take out all of that imagination shit and the fact that, oh, you as a human being, you can't create a planet and you can't create a star. First of all, a lot of y'all, you all don't know. You all don't know who created. Okay? You weren't there to witness it. So how can you, but being the fact that you weren't there to witness it and you didn't witness the being that did it, how can you sit there and say who it was that created it? You can't. You're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself. So cut the bullshit. You feel me? Like you're lying to yourself. You know that ye are gods. You can create and manifest in this reality, in this human experience. You are a soul in a body. Okay? The concept that a lot of people have of God is merely an idea. It's a concept. It's a concept. That means it's not based in reality. That means it is a projection. It is an idea. It is a creation of the mind to make understanding of that which is inexplainable and give you a context to which you can actually identify with it. So, to put things into perspective, when you were born, you had no concept of God. You had no idea of God. You didn't even have an identity. You were just a child who was influenced by your sensory emotions, and your mind wanted to immerse itself in the natural world. You didn't have a God concept. You didn't have a belief system. You didn't even have thought forms. Okay? So, with recognizing that, why weren't you already born with a God concept then if God is real? If God is real, why do you not have that? Why would you need somebody to teach you about that? Why would you need somebody to teach you about that? You were born with everything that you needed already. If you were born with 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, 2 arms, 2 legs, healthy, in balance, you were born with that already. Why weren't you born with a God concept? Because you didn't need it. So then, when you start taking on, you come across semen retention and you feeling more in self-empowerment. Why? Because you're starting to go back within. You're starting to go back to your original state. You're going back to your original state, which is whole and complete. Where you're not being dictated by sexual desires and you're not chasing women and you're not being caught up in things. You as a child, you naturally went within already. You feel me? Shout out to Jay the Chosen One. Always. Shout out to him. You feel me? Shout out to him and individuals whose eyes are really open and can understand this. Because when you get beyond the God concept and you start understanding things from when it's not something that you can fake. This ain't no game. You feel me? It's not a game. Understand that. So I'll be speaking more on this concept. In ancient Kemet, I'm going to finish it off with this in ancient Kemet, which is the origins of Christianity. It's just being, their spiritual system was just Europeanized, and most people know Kemet as Egypt. But it states in the Book of the Dead, to know thyself is to know the gods. They didn't use the term God. They used Neter, which essentially means nature. But what did they say? Know thyself and ye shall know God. So like, comment, subscribe, and I have more for you. Salud. Love.